Hey guys, so today I wanted to do a video dedicated to the newest bit of equipment that I got. For those of you who watched the last evidence video that I posted, you already know that I got myself a new motion sensor. And the way this works compared to the old one is it just doesn't come with that deafening alarm, so I'm not going to be getting up every 2 minutes to switch the alarm off and then reactivate the sensor. Instead it has LEDs inside which just flash on whenever something crosses its path. Now, like any new device, I kind of go through a process of testing it before I'm happy to bring it into an investigation. So I test it on its own first, see if it gets some responses, and then sort of bring in new equipment to validate the responses that I'm getting. So today I want to run you through that process. Give it a watch, guys, and let me know what you think. Hey guys, so tonight's going to be the first test of the new LED motion sensor that I got. It works just like the old motion sensors, only without the deafening alarm. Instead it's got 8 LEDs inside which light up like so whenever something passes the motion sensor. Now it is a little bit smaller than the old one, so it's only got about 1 meter radius, which means I want to set it up on the vivarium, so if anything comes crossing through here then it should pick that up and set it off. And the main reason for this test is because it is a smaller sensor. I want to make sure that it can pick up the same things the other motion sensors could, you know what I mean? So I'm going to set it up on this corner here. We can get the lights off and then I'm going to see if any of the spirits will help me use this tonight. Okay, everything good, refocusing, brilliant. Alright, so as you can see, I'm not even 1 meter within its range and it's already set it off, so it definitely does work. It's not broken and it's working in the dark as it said it would. So if there's any spirits here tonight, anybody present that would like to help me test this device, I'd really appreciate it if you'd come forward. Once I've gone to bed, these LEDs will go off, and if you come within range of the device, the lights will come back on. And I just want to test to see if this thing can actually pick you up, because if it can, then we can use this for communication later. So if you could help me, I would really appreciate that. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm going to bed. So at first glance, I would have said that that was actually some kind of paranormal response. The lights flashed on, there was even an orb came down right before the sensor activated. But my problem with it is the orb itself. Now, normally when you see an orb, I would only consider it a paranormal orb if there was another bit of activity to validate it, like a K2 meter going off, and like in this instance, the sensors activate and the lights flick on. But because it is a motion sensor, there's every possibility that that could have just been like a fly or a bug of some kind setting the sensor off. Theoretically, that could work. So with this in mind, I couldn't justify calling that evidence, so I had to try again. Second night, I set the sensor and camera up. I got nothing, which again, very frustrating. And then the third night, I set it up and I caught this. Night 3 seemed to get some really good responses. The lights seemed to be going on and off on their own. There was even some very faint footsteps in the background, like they were quiet, but you could definitely make them out. But the one thing that I didn't do was get coverage of the stairs, and I'm absolutely kicking myself about it. I kind of set the experiment up in a hurry because I needed to get to bed. I was up early, and I didn't even think about the fact that if that sensor went off, I can't prove that I'm not stood on the stairs just waving around just off camera. So for night 4, I obviously rectified this. I brought down a second camera to cover that angle. with nightfall concluded with some very good responses on the motion sensor, it was time to try and validate what it was I was capturing. So like last time, I set up a bigger experiment. I had 2 cameras going, one at the point of view of the sensor facing the stairs. I brought in the thermal camera and the Kinect, and I caught this. Now there are a few things that I wanted to go over with regards to this clip. Now when I posted this clip last week, I hadn't actually gone through all of the footage yet, so I had no idea that the skeletal figure had appeared on the Kinect at that moment. If I had, that would have really helped to validate it for a few of you guys that were struggling to see the footprint. Now with regards to them footprints on the thermal camera, there are 3 very clear cold spots that appear on the 2nd and 3rd step over the space of about 40 seconds, just after the creaking starts to happen. Now, one person thought that that might be the fluctuation in temperature, like the floorboards shrinking and expanding and causing that creak, but that is just the very clear sound of someone just shifting the weight on the lower step. Like, here's a clip of me just stood on the lower step, just moving from side to side. It sounds just like it. Now for me, that's not the sound of expanding and shrinking floorboards. That's definitely the sound of somebody shifting the weight on those lower steps, trying to activate the sensor. Now, like the previous nights, I asked the spirits to come forward and help me, and I think personally they just got to the lower steps and just were moving around to try and activate the sensor for me. I also think that that's the reason that the cold spots don't look exactly like footprints, because they were shifting around as opposed to just stood in one place where you'd get 2 footprints. They've probably moved around a little bit, which kind of obscures the pattern. The same thing happens if I stand on the lower step. You see 2 warm footprints if I stood in one place, but if I move around, they kind of get obscured and you get funny shapes out of them. And that for me is the reason they don't look like regular footprints, but they are definitely there. They are definitely cold spots, and I can't think of a reason for it. I've filmed that spot on a couple of nights since, and I haven't caught them same cold spots. It just doesn't happen. Like, it's not a natural occurrence. They appeared during the creaking floorboards and then slowly faded out into a neutral temperature after the creaking had stopped. So for me, all of this combined, the skeletal figure, the cold spots, the creaking, and the motion sensor going off, go together to tell me that somebody or something was stood in that spot trying to activate the sensor, and that sensor was definitely picking up on something paranormal. So let me know what you guys think. I know it's been a lot to take in. I really do appreciate your opinions. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll post any and all activity as and when I get it.